Brady just said
You're
in the
welcome
chat.
to the Cruising is Life podcast.
It is
Whether you're
considered
a seasoned
bestiality
cruiser
if
or
we're
just
in that.
starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode. Sorry, we were a few minutes behind today. Had some last minute changes for Utopia of the Seas arrival tomorrow, so I had a few extra things going on in the background, and it caused me to be a little behind. But nonetheless, we're here back again. Pookie, Big Pookie, as we referenced. Justin is not here tonight, but we are here with Dimitri. How's it going, buddy?
Hey guys, what's up? How are you? I'm good.
But we're back again for another very fun topic, and kind of more. I know we've done a episode on Disney Cruise Line and the kind of their fleet expansion, but also the the Chinese cruise market also starting back up, or the Asia cruise market starting back up, where now we're kind of combining those two podcasts into one almost, or those two topics into one, because yesterday's big news was that Japan, or Disney Cruise Line, is not only building a fourth Triton class ship, or like the Wish class, however you want to reference that, but they're building a fourth one, and it's going over to Asia and going to be stationed near Tokyo, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. I mean, that kind of came out of like left field, I'd have to say, to be honest. I wasn't expecting.
Absolutely.
I knew a new ship was going to be on the horizon any day now, but
Honestly,
I
they're
guess
building a lot of ships.
they are rapid firing. Carnival, are you listening? Because I don't think they're listening.
Disney's got more ships coming in the next couple of years than Carnival does, that we know of at least. Carnival's cooking something, but from what's
Carnival's
public
cooking
information?
in the crock pot, and the crock pot does not. Or sorry, crock pot that takes all day.
Yeah, they're cooking something in a crock pot, so it's taken a long time for them, but
a long time.
But nonetheless, Carnival does have something in the works, and it's pretty awesome. But Carnival's also kind of sitting back going, oh yeah, we're cooking something good. And everybody else, I mean, NCL's got 200,000 ton ships on the way. You know, Royal Caribbean's got stuff just sitting around to be announced. I mean, Carnival's sitting back, and they're sitting pretty good on what they think they have. But even Disney now, you know, our topic for today, even Disney's got more ships on the horizon than Carnival does.
True. Am I kind of, I don't want to say like surprised, but I'm also not surprised that it's just the same ship that they've had since Dream came out in, I don't know
More or
what year.
less, yeah.
I mean, it's basically like the same. I guess if it's not broken, don't fix it. And I feel like the Disney people aren't going to be like, ooh, you know, it's got this or that. They're just there because it's Disney, and you Disney people are freaks. Right. But anywho.
I mean, because I know you'll kind of get the more of the differences or the reference here, but honestly, the Dream class and the Triton class is like Carnival's Dream class to the Vista class.
Exactly.
Pretty big changes, but most of the changes that you're going to visually see are on the inside.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Wish has been very popular, so that, I mean, and Treasure seems to be doing really well.
Bad things about it besides the horn not working 90% of the time, and the video posted a couple days ago. What?
I've experienced that one firsthand. It got stuck on full blast while I was docked next to it on Liberty of the Seas. It was the funniest thing.
You should have sued Disney for hearing loss, and you would have made bank.
The funniest thing was, I think it was weird because they just randomly did it like in the middle of the day too, while we were sitting in Nassau. But I think it was for a wedding that was taking place, and they were having like photos and stuff like that, or they were doing it on the bow of the ship, which is really cool. So I'm kind of just putting the two and two together. I could be completely wrong here, but there was a couple like in, you know, full tux and wedding dress and everything, you know, walking off the bow shortly after all this happened. But I think they must have sounded the horns whenever they, you know, they say "I do" or whatever the heck it is. So, yeah. So, but yeah, that was a funny thing. It just got stuck. It just didn't turn off for like a solid 10 to 15 minutes. It was very funny. But yeah, I mean, I'm more surprised that they're building a fourth one And which is funny because like before, excluding Adventure, I mean, four of a single class is one, they've never done that, but four is
Enough.
basically double of their current fleet before, or I guess their fleet prior to the Wish.
I'll definitely get 100%.
Yeah, so they went from four ships to their next class of ship having four ships, plus the the whole 200,000 ton Adventure coming. But I mean, it's Disney's making some pretty big moves, and I would have expected maybe a bigger ship, or maybe I don't think we would have seen. I know the Global Dream 2 did exist at one point, but that wasn't far enough along for them to actually like warrant keeping that around, like they did with Global Dream, which is now Disney Adventure.
Have you seen any like recent pictures of it? Nothing I have really seen has like surfaced about it.
It's very secretive, I feel like,
Very
but
much the word.
I know originally they were going to do like the 6 funnels, but now it's only 4, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was gonna look a little funky.
That was, yeah. The fact that they're going to do 4 is going to be really funky, but given how wide the ship is, okay, I can see it.
Yeah, maybe.
They'll probably do the 2 suites up in the front funnels, and then
Mhm.
the 2 ones in the back are actual funnels like they normally
When
do.
is that one supposed to debut?
Next year,
Next year.
they're pumping them out fast over the next year. They have Treasure comes out in
Every
December.
year.
Yeah, Treasure comes out in December, and I think the very next one out of the shipyard is the Destiny. Like I think
Mhm.
they're back to back out of Meyer Papenburg, which is crazy to see. Back to back the same thing. Even the Quantum and the Breakaway class weren't like that. Maybe
No, yeah,
Quantum and
you're
Anthem, but I don't think so.
And I mean, the other thing is that good that they're kind of spreading these ships out.
Hmm.
Am I
Also, Brady,
surprised?
thank you for the super chat.
I love you, Brady. Um, what do you call it? That they're spreading them out, like as in different parts of the world. Because I mean, we can't have 6 Disney ships out of Orlando. Like, let's
No.
be for real for a minute.
There's already issues with them, just bringing the treasure in.
Yeah, that's right. All the
Because
port
they're gonna have to use 8 and 10 in Port Canaveral at the terminals. They're already putting out like notices to everybody that are on those select sailings, saying, hey, it's mostly they did the same thing with the Wish. I mean, when the Dream and the Fantasy were still there, not on normal itineraries, so not normal that it happens, but they have things going out there like, hey, we've got some issues. We have more than one ship in that day, and obviously we only have one terminal for Disney, so we're gonna be moving you over to 10, or you're gonna be disembarking from 10, but you're gonna getting on at 8. But yeah, Disney's got a lot of ships now, which is amazing for them. I'm kind of glad to see it. It used to be that they were not really. I mean, obviously Disney's super relevant, but as far as their cruise line, they weren't really relevant as far as competing with all the others. But they've been putting out some pretty good ships over the last couple of years.
I think they have 2, and I don't think it's as the fact that they're not like staying relevant, because I think they'll always be relevant.
Right?
Because
It's
I mean,
Disney.
it's Disney, and a lot of people just go on it because it's Disney, and not as for
Right.
the fact that it's like a cruise.
Right.
But I mean, it's good that they're moving in the right direction, because I mean, the Magic and the Wonder, they're kind of getting a little older in age. I mean, they're like 90s ships.
Do you think those are going to get
things like-
retired?
I don't think so yet. I think they'll send those like on a world cruise or a half world cruise, or put those in like, I don't know. I think one of them was supposed to go down to like Bora Bora and their Polynesian thing down there or something.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think
that's
it's down in Australia
perfect.
right now.
I'm gonna say I think that's perfect. Like in those markets that aren't like forefront with Disney parks, because I mean, obviously, I know Tokyo has a Disney park, right? I'm not a Disney fanatic.
Actually, so the really cool thing about it is, so there's Tokyo Disneyland and then there's Tokyo Disney Sea. Those are, review wise, and like what anybody that's been over to those parks say that those are the 2 best Disney parks. And
Really?
funny enough, they're not actually owned by Disney. They're owned by the Oriental Land Company, which is a
Interesting.
Japan-based company, but they're actually and Oriental Land Company is the same people that placed the order for this new ship from Disney. Obviously,
I was gonna say I saw that name pop up, the Oriental Company. So are they just the ones that like
they actually
franchise
own
it
it.
out? I guess.
Yeah, more or less. I don't know if they
Okay.
do all of Asia. I know they own those two. I don't know if Shanghai Disneyland is included in that as well,
Mhm.
or Disney Hong Kong. But
Got it.
yeah, I know for a fact that those, at least the Japanese parks for sure, are are owned by Oriental Land Company, and of course Disney has all the licensing and everything like that for it. But I think
Oh,
when
100%.
when it comes
Disney and
down
their
to they
copyright.
they operate it at least, which is kind
Hello,
of cool.
Bell.
But yeah, it's kind of neat how they do it though. But yeah, they're the ones that are technically going to be owning and operating this new ship, which is cool.
Got it. So, what
Which
do you
actually
call
makes
it?
it very promising, because if
I
it's
mean,
anything like the
true.
theme parks, if they if they take what's good about Disney and apply it to the cruise ship, like they did with they took what's good about the U.S. versions of Disney and even the European ones, and they apply it to the theme parks over there, and they apply it to the cruise ships over there, we might end up with like one of the best Disney ships just because it's operated by somebody other than Disney.
So true. And I think that if Disney was to slap their name on something, they're going to make sure it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess a question for you. Okay, so let's say, a ship goes and docks in Tokyo. How far is the park away from like the ports and stuff? I'm not familiar.
So I
Like, is
know
it like an Orlando, Port Canaveral kind of situation, or is it like a
I'm
couple more
pretty
hours?
sure. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know Tokyo isn't really a coastal city, but
Yeah, it's not.
I know like ships that do go and visit Tokyo, it's like Fukushima or something like that, I want to say, or Yokohama.
Yeah, or
Um,
Fukuoka or something.
I think that might be it.
One of the
Tokyo.
two. Yeah, look it up.
It is Port of Tokyo is one of the largest Japanese seaports. Let's see, Tokyo. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't
Mm.
really see.
I mean, that'll be
I mean, it
interesting
looks
because I
like
mean
it.
that's a
It
big
kind of
market.
like there's like the um, Tokyo Harbor, and then there's like small, very narrow channels that go back into Tokyo a little bit. Um,
Well, I don't care about that. I'm just talking about okay, Tokyo's cruise port. How far away is the nearest cruise port from a Disney park that we're talking about?
actually, Tokyo Disney Sea appears to be in Tokyo Harbor,
Oh,
so that's a big
that's
plus.
cool.
And then
That's
actual
relevant.
actual Tokyo is probably like maybe 20 minutes by my bus
Oh,
at the absolute most with
easy.
traffic. It's very close. It looks like on the map.
Got
Um,
it.
but yeah, I mean, anybody that I've seen people that have done, the Asia cruises over to Tokyo, and all of the excursions go into the city. They don't go, they don't stay like,
I was gonna say.
how Orlando is classified as Port Canaveral. It's not like that. It seems like people are taking very short bus rides or even walking into the city, which is kind of cool.
And people, for the podcast viewers, Orlando is 2 hours away from Port Canaveral. Do not get fooled.
From Tampa, yes. from MCO Airport, it's like 45 minutes, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about from Port Canaveral. Orlando is like almost 2 hours to get to Disney.
Oh, to Disney, yeah, because the Disney traffic. It's about an hour
Yeah,
to
that's
get to
what I'm saying.
Orlando,
Don't
and then
be
about
fooled.
another hour to get through through
Don't
Orlando
be.
because of yeah, Disney's a mess. Um, but yeah, it's really cool that they're doing that. And honestly, I'm more surprised that they said that they were going to be basing this thing in Japan than anything else, because all the Asia cruise ships, they're Singapore,
Leaving
yeah. Well, I mean
or in Singapore. Yeah.
they're all coming back. I mean, Spectrum just came back over the last couple weeks, but it's being stationed out of Shanghai or Hong Kong, or it was in Singapore for a while. Disney Adventure is going to be stationed out of Singapore, but you see the ships that go to Japan, but you never see the ones that are home ported there. Which that's what surprised me the most, is that it's going to be
Very true.
home ported there. It's not that they're, oh, we've got we've got a new Asia cruise ship that's going to be visiting Japan. We're putting it in Japan.
Putting it in
Too.
Japan. I foresee that changing after a few years. But good, let it be over there, whatever. I'm surprised nothing went to Europe. I mean, I know Disney, like, kind of
I think that's
pebbles
what they're
around
going
in
to
Europe.
focus. I think that's what they're going to focus the Dream and the Fantasy with. Because, I mean,
Got
that's
it.
what they did with Magic and Wonder whenever Dream and Fantasy first came out. They started,
Mhm.
you know, being a little bit more adventurous with those, putting those in. I mean, Miami's not that adventurous for them, but you know, they started putting them in different home ports, and they eventually started putting up in New York, you know, L.A., you know, down in
Well, I mean,
Australia
the
now.
only
But I
park
mean,
in
they've
Europe
used
is
Europe
Paris,
too.
right?
Yeah, and I think they have. I think when they do like the summer seasons for the Dream, I think they have them. They don't go to Paris because it's in the middle of the country, but I think they visit like Marseille and things like that where
Or yeah,
they
what do
can
you call
at
it?
least
La
get
Havre.
there.
It is.
Le Havre, yeah, exactly. So it
Yeah.
probably will be more like that. I did see that they said it's going to be like 4 and 5 night itineraries that, you know, just stay out at sea. I don't know if that's going to be 4 or 5 sea days, or if it's going to visit places like Kyoto,
An interesting
Nagasaki, things
choice.
like that. I'm very interested to see that, like what they do as far as itineraries, because I don't know if they're going to do just cruises to nowhere for 4 and 5 days. Because I mean, Japan has some really, unless they have the U.S. is the only one that has that stupid rule where you have to visit a foreign country first. So I don't think they're going to run into that. You know, but
Honestly, I'm not
they
sure
can
if
visit.
Japan had that. That's a good question.
I don't think they do. They're not dumb like us in the U.S. that
Well, I
have
was
that.
gonna say like the 7 day like Greece cruises that do like
Mhm.
all Greece islands. They don't have to go to like Turkey or anything. So
Right,
I guess it's just
exactly.
the US that sucks.
It really seems like it's a U.S. thing as far as the Passenger
US
Vessel Services Act, and that really only is in place because of cargo, which I feel like it shouldn't apply to cruise ships, but that's a different topic for a different day.
Exactly.
But I mean, like Japan has places like Kyoto, Nagasaki, you know, and other places like that where, you know, that are more coastal cities where people can visit too. So, you know, yeah, it's like a quick train ride away for them there, but at the same time, I mean, if they want to take a cruise and go visit those cities, then go for it, you know.
Yeah.
So as far as the itineraries, it's gonna be very interesting to see what they kind of do with that. If it's actually going to be
I mean, good for
a
them
couple
for
days.
expanding. Like I said, they're pushing out
Yeah.
a whole bunch of ships. They keep their ships up pretty well, I will have to say. Wish looked
Yeah.
a little rough in the video you posted yesterday when it got announced. To be honest, her
Oh,
waterline looked horrible.
oh yeah. Fantasy's waterline right now is pretty bad.
Or was it fantasy? I couldn't tell
Yeah,
because
Fan-
they
I
looked
know
literally the
Fantasy's-
same.
I know Fantasy's been really bad lately. Brady with another
Got it.
$6.90 super chat. Nice. Can we estimate if prices would be different than super high U.S. prices?
Obviously, yes.
Yes, but no. Right?
I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so it's
fine.
funny and it's complicated because yes, there are very super high Disney prices, but right now I only know this because I am wanting to visit Japan, you know, in the near future. But the yen is so low right now, or the value of the yen is so low right now that it has never been cheaper to go visit Japan than like a dollar is like 200 yen, which you can buy a Big Mac meal at McDonald's for less than 200 yen, or around that. Like it's you could eat comfortably off of like $50 for a few days. There is pretty much how strong the U.S. dollar is for the yen. So I mean, yeah, you're gonna pay a lot as far as like yen and conversion rates, but at the same time, like you're gonna get a lot. Your U.S. dollar is about, I would say maybe 150 yen equals a dollar, or 250 yen right now equals a dollar.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I know the because they mentioned it in the actual announcement. So the conversion rate, the ship is actually the order was for 330 billion with a B, billion yen, where that converts to just $2 billion US.
I mean, I think he was kind of talking about like the prices for the cruise themselves. Like if I book it in US dollars, I looked at Brady. I looked at Disney cruises right now. To go to Norway on a 7-day or Greece on an
Oh my
11-day, it's like $6,000 or $8,000 per person in the cheapest room. It's literally insane. So I think that answers your question. That Disney prices are a little outrageous, and it's like $30,000 for 7 days in a suite. Absolutely insane.
Unbelievable. But I mean, there's definitely ways around that. I mean, if you use a VPN and just access from a Japanese website, then you're going to pay Japanese prices. You know what I mean? It's not going to be inflated for US.
Don't tempt me with a good time like that.
All I'm saying is I want to go. So I know the Spectrum has kind of been like the ship I had my eye on when I want to go over there. But at the same time, I mean, shoot, if there's a new Disney ship, then. If there's a new Disney ship over in Japan while I'm over there, then I might as well go on the new Disney ship. You know what I mean?
You got a few years.
If the prices are right, yeah, I got a few years. I still got to start saving.
I mean, the prices in general. I mean, I know they're kind of a little bit up market, but let's be for real. They ain't as up market as they used to be.
No, it's the Disney quality isn't nearly as good as it used to be. And that's nothing against. I mean, that is a negative thing to say about Disney, but it's like nothing against them. I think it's more of just like over the years, and they're not the only company to do it either. But there's that quality you expect from certain companies, and a lot of those certain companies aren't delivering on. Like over the last like maybe 5 to 10 years, have really gone down on that quality that you kind of expect from them. I feel like Disney's one of them.
For sure.
And I think that's all it is just, kind of quality of work and things like that. But, I think Disney has definitely been slacking on that. But it's really not that hard for them to turn that around, with the right people. So who knows?
I don't think they'll make any bad decisions, and I don't think it'll really affect them if, they don't do as well as I'm imagining. Because I think they have both the Disney people to back them up and the cruise people, so it's like you got two shots at this thing. If you don't succeed after 2 shots when most of them only get one, you're doing something really
right. And like I mentioned earlier, I mean the Oriental Land Company being the operators of Tokyo Disney and Disney Sea, and those are supposedly the 2 best parks that they've got, and they're not even Disney owned properties technically. They're owned and operated by somebody else. The fact that they have the best 2 Disney parks makes me think that since they're the one that places order, this could end up being a much better ship than what we see here. Or just anywhere else, even with the Adventure,
True. I'm very excited. That's the one I'm most excited to see.
Adventure, yeah.
Yeah.
They're being very secretive about Adventure too, which is kind of odd. It's funny because Meyer is the builder of it,
right? Yeah.
So it's in a different shipyard. It's not actually in Papenburg or even Meyer Werft. It's not a Meyer shipyard, but because the Genting is the owner, I mean they're the builder of the ship and the operator originally, but they also owned the shipyard. So the shipyard went under too. So Meyer basically came to the agreement, or part of the agreement with Disney was that Meyer is going to run the shipyard and finish the build from that specific shipyard.
Is it the Mitsubishi one?
No, Mitsubishi I think is actually in China.
In China,
it's like Meyer Werft, and it's not, or no, not Meyer Werft. Obviously, that's Meyer Werft. It's like Meyer, or not.
So basically, like Meyer Werft,
MV Werften, I think is what it was. Something German.
Got it. So Meyer Werft Dupe. Got it.
Yeah. Basically, I don't know if Meyer Werft is going to, start using that more often as well. If like they're going to build more ships there, they easily could, just given that Meyer has really good quality ships and they got a lot of ships on order. So it might be in a good interest of theirs to continue to use that shipyard. But as of right now, I think they're just trying to pump that ship out, and then I think they're going to close it down. But honestly, I'd feel like it'd be a better idea just to keep it running if they've got the ship demand for it. I mean, especially because ships are getting so big too that you got that 200,000 ton ship coming out of it. That thing will not get up the river in the actual Papenburg shipyard. So if they want to start building these 200,000 ton ships like Turku and even Fincantieri are about to start building, I mean, then
Start
you have to
dredging.
use that. Yeah, either start dredging now, or use that shipyard. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean they could if they have like a stake in it or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know the whole logistics of that deal, but yeah, I know they're definitely operating it right now, at least for the time being.
Do they run any like land and sea packages for Disney stuff right now?
Like it's like flying into
Yeah, like fly in, stay at Disney, go to Disney for like 3 days, and hop on a cruise, and they go home. All in one bundle deal. They book everything for you, and then
that I don't know. Actually, that honestly wouldn't be a bad idea because
Disney. If you're listening and you haven't come up with that, you owe me a lot of money.
and
I
the
bet.
funny thing is like I'm looking at the kind of the map of Tokyo, or at least like that harbor area. So so there's the container terminals, port of Tokyo Harbor. Right across the channel is Haneda Airport, which is the Tokyo airport, and
Yeah.
then it's sandwiched in between Haneda Airport and Tokyo Disney Sea.
The
Like,
cruise terminal.
yes. So it's all like right there within. I mean, you could take a little jet ski across in like 10 minutes. Seems like that's how close it all is.
Yeah.
It all seems very close. So I mean, you could easily do it, and it's Haneda Airport's connected right to the interstates there, and goes straight into Tokyo, and it also splits and goes past the, what you call it? Oh yeah, Tokyo International Cruise Terminal. So yeah, it's literally right there.
Interesting. I mean, that's good at least.
Right, exactly. I don't. Yeah, it'd probably be kind of hard to walk all the way into like actual downtown Tokyo, but like there's a lot of stuff nearby. Obviously, it's a very big city too, so there's other parts of it that you can go to. But yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I
Like,
think if
everything is
people are
right
going to be
there.
there for Disney, they're going to be there for Disney and Disney only.
Right, exactly. And I mean, again, you could literally take like a jet ski from Haneda Airport and just cross the harbor in a few minutes to get to Tokyo Disney Sea. I mean, not that that's
Kids,
possible,
you hear that?
but
We're taking a jet ski to Disneyland.
that would be so much fun, wouldn't it?
That'd be. I would go there just for that.
I don't know if the Japanese authorities would like that. They'd probably be like, "What are these? What are these two weird Americans doing in our harbor
Sushi and
on a jet ski?"
just give them some sushi and they'll be fine. They got Coast Guard over there.
Oh
Figure it
my
out.
god. But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of potential with this. I feel like they, given that it's not a true Disney, like a Disney product here, with being a Oriental Land company. I mean, I think they might, if they execute this very well. I mean, it's probably going to be a 10 out of 10, type of ship. And I think this
Got
also
it. What
has
I'm hearing is
the
that you're going to go test it out for all of us.
what?
I said, so what I'm hearing is that you're going to go test it out for all of us. Got it. Okay.
I mean, shoot, I could. I want to. I mean, look, it's a very beautiful country. I want to go visit.
I don't think that's the only thing you like about
Nah,
that country.
that cruise ships are really cool.
Okay. Most
But
definitely.
so, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting that it's going to be so much different too. Like, I wonder if I don't think that company has any stake in the Disney Adventure though.
I think that's like further down south in Singapore, though, right?
Right, exactly. So I don't think they're owning and
There's not
operating.
a
So
park
I'm wondering
down
how the two. What?
I said there's not a park down there, as per se.
No. I mean, there's one in Hong Kong. They could easily get up there from Singapore. That's, being on the south side of China. So, I mean, you could try it, but I don't know. Yeah, it is a little far. You'd probably have to do at least a 7 day. You'd have to go to like Ho Chi Minh City and like Vietnam and Hong Kong and stuff like that. But you could easily do it in a 7 day cruise. That would be kind of cool because, again, they do have the park there in Hong Kong. So that'd be kind of cool if they did the Disney Adventure up there.
True.
And then just, I mean, completely outside of that too. I mean, the fact that they're expanding their fleet by so much. I mean, we touched on it earlier. Going from 4 ships since 2012, 2013, whenever the fantasy came out, up until now. I mean, we've had the same ship on the 7-night itineraries. We've had the fantasy running 7 nights out of Canaveral for over 10 years now, which is crazy.
Eternity.
But now we're gonna have finally the treasure, but we've also got Destiny coming soon. Again, we just got the Wish. They're adding 5 ships over the span of 6 years, which before the span of 6 years they've only had 4 ships total. In the last over the whole 30-year span. So they're coming in really quick, and I think they're trying to set a bit more of a precedence. That they are one of the more legitimate cruise lines, and I think Disney could have a better presence in the industry if they really focused in like they seem to be doing.
I mean,
I would like to see more
yes
European options, like you mentioned earlier. I would like to see more European options, and Alaska.
Alaska for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, they've got plenty of money. Why didn't they just do another class of ship? I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fix something that's not broken. But
Mm-hmm.
let's be for real
That's
here.
a lot of R&D costs, though.
They got the money.
Yeah, they do have the money. I feel like probably whenever the next ship gets ordered, whenever that may be, probably 2030 maybe, the next ship they order will be a brand new class. I don't know if maybe they just don't like the numbers. I don't know. But if this was just a one-time thing, and again, this may not even have been a Disney decision, it more have just been like, oh yeah, sure, use it. You can have a Triton class and go for it. So it may have just been that Oriental Land Company came out and said, hey, we want to put that ship over here. Which I honestly, before they announced that they were buying Disney Adventure, I honestly thought that Disney Destiny, or at least one of the 3, were going to go over to Asia in the first place. So
I think it was bound to.
Yeah.
Because that's a market that they're not really in, you know what I mean?
They want to be in, too.
They want to be in.
So, I mean, now that they've got 2 ships there, I think they're going to be sitting pretty well over there, too. So I don't think we're going to see anything else past this go over there, but pretty cool. I mean, they're getting into the market that they want to try.
I agree.
But I think as Disney continues to expand, I mean, I like that we've always got our 3 and 4 night, and we always got our 7 nights. I think the 4 and 5s are going to become more common. I think honestly that's my prediction on Disney Destiny, is that it's going to do the 4 and 5 night itineraries, out of which is a new itinerary, by the way. They don't operate that right now, but I think Fantasy is going to do that for a little bit of time. While she's still in Port Canaveral once the treasure arrives. So I wonder if that's maybe like a test to see if maybe that's...
Yeah, Fantasy is always the one running the longer itinerary, so if you're on the shorter ones, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can get it on a 3 and 4 or a 4 and 5, I mean, I think that would be that's a good ship to at least test it with. That way you don't have to move it around anywhere relative. I mean, you keep it in the same home port. It's just the weird shuffling of a 4 and 5 night, because it will end up there on the same day as the Wish or the treasure. But
they also have Fort Lauderdale. I mean, I know they only have one ship in Fort Lauderdale, but I mean, you guys just renovated that whole entire terminal and dredged all that land. Why not use it?
Right, exactly. I mean, they've got the Dream doing it, so I mean, I think they're going to continue to use some of the 4 original ones. I feel like it's weird to say the 4 originals now. It used to be the 2 originals. But I think they're always going to have a ship, maybe not year round, but at least seasonal, just because that's also a seasonal port really for everybody. I mean, it's not often. I mean, Royal Caribbean at this point is kind of in one celebrity ship, and I don't know if they have anything this summer out of Port Everglades.
I don't think they do, which is very weird because Royal Caribbean used to be everything Port Everglades.
Mm-hmm. Up until they opened that terminal in Miami. Yeah.
Miami, now everything.
Yeah. Up until they opened that terminal in Miami, it's been... they
kind
kind
of
of lost that business Miami lost that business when Fort Lauderdale took the Oasis class and not Miami.
Yeah, so they're just playing tag. You're it.
Exactly. But now that the industry is getting to the point where there's so many ships that they're gonna have to start going there. But I think
Sure.
Disney would at least use that seasonally, if not year round, with one of those ships. I think the Dream Class might be a better year round option there, especially
Mhm.
maybe like a 4 and 5 night itinerary, especially now that they've got
Sure.
Lighthouse Point or Treasure.
Lighthouse
Yeah,
thing.
which I hear is reviewing quite well, other than the really long pier there.
I have two.
I
It's
hear a
still
lot of people
relatively
really
new.
like it. So interesting.
Yeah,
I did see
very
one.
interesting.
I did see one itinerary for the fantasy recently, and
Mhm.
I love this idea. And they have the fleet size for it because there's not that many. But it was a 7-night Bahamas cruise. And I feel
Mhm.
like Royal Caribbean could end up doing this one day with one of their ships. But it went Lighthouse Point, Castaway, Sea Day, Nassau, Sea Day, and back to Lighthouse Point.
Yeah, I saw that.
Or there may have been one too many sea days there, but they went back to Lighthouse Point a second time after visiting Castaway
Yeah,
and
I've seen
Nassau.
that. Didn't that just happen recently too?
Yeah, I think it was one of the first sailings for fantasy to go there.
We went twice. Yeah,
That's pretty awesome, though. I mean, especially if it's
that is
as
pretty
as
awesome.
good as people say it is, or it's reviewing, then it'd be perfect.
Sure.
That'd be such a fun little itinerary to do. I feel like if they were to do something like that with Coco Cay and, which, yeah, I think
I'm very excited for Coco Cay, and I'm also
Yes.
kind of bummed. Obviously, Wonder is not out of Miami, but to try the new shiny terminal. But I guess Port Canaveral will have to do. That one's generally pretty new, isn't it?
Yeah, Terminal 1's relatively new. It's only about 10 years old, really. But it's very honestly, I like that terminal better. It's than Terminal A in Miami. The other,
Yeah.
the main thing is Miami is a beast when it comes to trying to get in and out of there. If one small thing happens with traffic, done. You're done for the day. I mean, I know that Justin has the story of his parents were trying to get on the Celebration, and it took them like 2 hours to get from the bridge, or the bridge as you approach it. It took them like 2 hours to actually get to the terminal because of one car accident.
That's crazy.
But there was 11 ships there, or something. There was 10 ships there, or something like that. It was insane.
That's crazy.
But I mean, yeah, Miami is
Yeah,
just.
same thing with Canaveral though. A few weeks ago, don't make me bring you back to deja vu and
No,
PTSD.
Honestly, I've shown up for ship spotting during peak times, and I mean maybe it's a little busy, but not. It's never backed out. I mean, the first 2 weeks of Wonder ever being in Port Canaveral, it was backed up pretty bad, but after 2 weeks, I never had a problem. I walked right on the Wonder when I sailed on it last year.
I was talking about the traffic when you went ship spotting and it was out of backlog, but that was because of the ships.
Which one was that?
There was an accident over the bridge over the causeway.
Oh, that was when I was going home. Yeah,
Yes.
some moron wasn't looking and had a motorcycle.
That'll do it.
Yeah, it caused me. It took me an hour to usually get through the first 5 minutes of my drive home, which sucked. Oh, that was brutal. But yeah, I don't really think Port Canaveral ever. I know for some reason I feel like a lot of people do say that Canaveral's got a lot of logistics issues, with the layouts and the road systems and everything there. But honestly, I've been there on 6-ship days and I don't normally see it. I mean, yeah, it's a weird layout and configuration of the terminals, so I get that part of it. But I personally have never really experienced crazy days at the port. As far as I've never really waited more than maybe 10 minutes to get into a terminal, and that was because Mardi Gras was backed up. So I mean, it usually takes me within a couple minutes to get from my car onto the ship, especially with Terminal 1. So I don't think you have anything to worry about, but knock on wood.
No, I don't think I will either. But Coop was saying Lighthouse Point, only one ship. Do I think it should have been 2 ships?
Yeah.
Yes, that's a big boo-boo on Disney's part, but I think they were trying to be eco-friendly to save the turtles, and the turtles
Yeah.
came first.
Yeah, they were trying to be extremely eco-friendly there, which is why it's got such a long pier in the first place. But I think it's more or less because they were
You
trying
see
to
with
have very
Castaway
little.
Cay, it's only one. It's only one ship.
Right.
I think I saw 2 ships in Castaway Cay once.
Really? I wonder how they did
I don't
that.
know. I mean, I know a couple of times they've like driven by and like done the horn
Yeah.
stuff. I think like one came and then the other one left or something. I'm like, huh, interesting.
Interesting. You know, a cool idea for Royal Caribbean would be to do a like, the ships always leave at 5 o'clock on the dot, but have a different like a different pair of ships come in at night and stay overnight in Coco Cay, do like really cool stuff there. That would
That'd
be
be,
really cool.
I mean,
That would be
MSC kind of does
really
that
cool.
with the lighthouse and the DJ
Yeah.
party on the beach.
Yeah, I mean they could do it to where they either stay overnight, like stay all day too, or they just swap out the ships. Like a
I'm
perfect
surprised they
night.
haven't done any overnights at Coco Cay.
They used to do that with a Great Stirrup Cay with Norwegian. They used to have like
They used
bonfires
to.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that on the, especially like on the New York ships. They used to overnight down
Mhm.
there, and they would do
Yeah.
like big fires and campfires and stuff like that down on the beach, which is really neat. But
Yes,
but back
Brandon.
up.
The pier is huge, but once again, they wanted to save the sea turtles.
That's why it's so big. It's just that it only has the capacity for one ship. It's just very long. Um,
And you know
to
what?
kind of
I'm
navigate.
waiting for the day that uh, storms and they just can't dock. They can't dock. They can't dock, and it becomes a recurring issue.
Yeah, I haven't seen it so far, which is good, but
I haven't
it's
seen it
also
so
not
far, but
huge
I was
storm
going to
season.
say the Atlantic has been quite quiet, which
Well,
means
other
something
than the last
brewing.
couple days over in the Gulf, but that's
Oh my God, did you? Okay,
that.
tangent. Did you see how bad Houston got it? It was a freaking tropical storm, and they got demolished.
Did they really? I
Yeah,
didn't
that
realize
was
it
so
went.
funny. Hi, Jerry. Yeah, I know.
Don't
Don't jinx
you? Yeah, let's not jinx it. Also, thank you, Brady, for the 10. So this one's for One Hand and Blackjack for Big D on Wonder.
it. I cannot wait. I'm gonna bring some moolah.
All right. Um, but yeah, it's really interesting to see kind of what like Disney's doing. I think they have the opportunity to go and become one of the bigger, well, not bigger cruise lines, but I think they can really kind of put themselves out there in the industry and kind of start really actually competing because I don't think they've ever really competed up to this point. It's
No, I
always
don't
just
think so
been,
either. They've been kind of in a class of their own.
yeah, and it's funny to make this. I feel like to make this reference, but like because I love Nintendo, but like Nintendo does their own thing, and they excel at it, and
Mhm.
Disney does their own thing and excels at it,
Yeah.
where they kind of like you know PlayStation, Xbox, they do their own thing. They kind of like seem to be the bigger names, but Nintendo's off to the side doing amazing things on their own without even trying to compete. Whereas Disney's doing amazing things, not even trying to compete, where you have everybody else going head to head, MSC, Royal, NCL, Carnival. Like they all kind of do that where Disney's kind of doing their own thing, but doing it really, really well. So
And I
I
don't
feel
think
like,
they're ever going to go out and market just because, like I said, they're in their own bubble.
yeah, I think if Disney had, well, I mean, now they're going to be up to 9 ships, but I think if they had, 10, 11, maybe even 12 ships, they'd be sitting so pretty because they could put the new ones. Um, yeah, PlayStation, Xbox equals Royal and Carnival. Exactly the analogy I was making.
Literally. And whatever happened to Nickelodeon on Norwegian ships? Like that
They just
vanished.
like didn't renew that contract or something like that. Also, Tyler's on the Wonder this week, but Tyler didn't. Ain't working the podcast this week, which is all he does is make the thumbnails when he calls himself the producer. It's funny.
Oh my God.
But anyways, I think I think if they had maybe 10, 11, 12 ships, they're doing really good with Magic and Wonder, which Magic's actually coming back to Canaveral next year, which is kind of interesting.
I know. I saw that. I was very surprised.
But they get, they have the 2 Asia ships. They have one down under in Australia. They put one over in Alaska. I think a Dream class would do really cool, or really well up in Alaska.
I think it would
Dream,
too.
Dream class in Alaska. Magic or Wonder down in Australia. One on the West Coast, or even do it seasonally where the Dream goes. Seasonal.
What was it, Magic or Wonder in San Diego?
Yeah, exactly.
I heard it did pretty well.
Do that with the Dream. Put the Fantasy over in Europe. Even do Mediterranean or even either Northern Europe, or put the Wish over there and do both. I think if they had a couple other ships, and they have gone to New Orleans and they've gone to Galveston in the past. I mean, those are 2 really good ports for them. Maybe even just to put a smaller ship there. I'm not saying put the biggest, latest, and greatest there, but they have the agreements with those ports to put ships there. And they have a lot of different options now, which they didn't have over the last, 5 to 10 years. So they could really kind of, if they had a couple more ships, and, we've always been saying, oh, if Disney had a couple more ships, they could really do it. And now they kind of have those extra ships. But if they had even more, even half the fleet of Royal Caribbean or even half the fleet of Carnival, they could really do some damage in the industry as far as, kind of taking some of the market share and just capitalizing on the brand recognition of Disney.
True, and I guess another question: do they have any Disney parks that they're building right now? Like
No.
new? No, none.
No, not at all. They're not even building like expansions or anything like that. There's like a rumored expansion on Magic Kingdom, but Universal's really the one that's
That's
actually
been
building
going
the
on
parks.
for like years.
They've been saying that for years, and they're not actually going to do it.
Got it.
They've also been saying they're going to replace the monorails for the last 5 to 10 years in their 20
I've
years.
heard that one too, and I won't believe it till I see it.
It's funny. So funny about the monorails, because I had a little bit of insight on it when I was working in watercraft at Disney, all those years ago.
You were driving the boat. You were
I
literally
was
driving the boat.
literally driving a boat. But like the monorails back then were past their their expiration date, or like past like their age limit.
Very.
They had like a life expectancy of 20 years, and they were pushing like 25, and that was like 7 or 8 years ago, and they still have the same monorails. And they said back then that they were going to order new ones, and they said they did, but obviously COVID happened, and that probably is what happened. But they
COVID
still have not,
schmoed.
exactly. They still made a lot of money. They did a lot better than the cruise lines did, I can tell you that. But it's so funny that like even when they were 5 to 10 years past the life expectancy, now 10 years later, or not even 10 years later, but like I think it was maybe like 8 years ago, I think this is what is now. But like even now, like they're still around, and it's like, bro, what are you doing?
Literally, what are you doing?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a funny story, but yeah, I think, if Disney had like some sort of new project, like as far as their parks, that would be really cool to do too. Especially if it was like the overseas parks and things like that, with some of their ships. But yeah, I think that's probably a little bit further down the road. I think the fact that we're getting new ships in the first place is pretty crazy in the first place. But
Facts.
should be interesting to see what they do.
Do you know when bookings did they? Because usually they say when bookings open. They didn't say when bookings were going to open, right?
I don't think bookings are even open for Adventure. Or actually, no, I'm just kidding. I lied.
Well, obviously nothing's open for Adventure because Adventure hasn't even shown itself on camera.
That's true. But no, so they said fiscal year of 2028, so they're probably expecting this early 2029 is what it seems like. So this ship's a long way out, for sure.
I'm just saying, and even for all the other ones too, not necessarily just.
I don't know, actually. I don't think I've seen anything for Destiny. Let's see.
I was gonna say it should be any day now. You know what I mean? Are you looking?
I don't know how accurate this Google search is going to be, but I don't know how to look at it other than just like I guess find a cruise, but I don't know if maybe it's different. I
Cruise.
literally just put book Disney Adventure cruise.
Oh, it'll be an adventure, all right.
Yeah, for real. Um, so Sydney, Southampton, San Juan, San Diego. I don't see Singapore on here anywhere.
Got it.
So funny enough, because those ships come out next year. I don't
That's
see
what I'm
anything
saying.
for Destiny either. Disney Wit, Wonder, Fantasy, Treasure, Wish, Dream Match. So yeah, Adventure and Destiny aren't on here, and they come out next year.
That's very surprising.
Very
Royal
surprising.
Caribbean
Why?
had those things booked for 2 years.
Brady with a $2 super chat says, "Do we know the tonnage of Destiny?" It's 140. It's going to be identical to the Wish and the Treasure. It's the same class and same thing with this this Japanese ship as well. So probably about 140,000. Nothing crazy, and I think the Adventure is going to be about 205. I think is what I saw. I know it's north of 200,000. So one thing I am interested in to see is what they do with the back area on that ship, because it's like it's like a weird half split, half not split structure. It's got like the weird like curves and corners, like the pinched ends, kind of like the Oasis glass, but it's completely open down on the bottom. It does, and it's like it curves off and like it doesn't like it's not hollow down the middle, like the actual split structure. It's just got that weird curve to the back.
I wonder if they'll add a carousel.
That would be really cool. I know the original, the Global Dream actually had a roller coaster on it originally.
It did. I do remember seeing that.
Do we have intel on what the 200,000 ton one will look like?
No,
I mean,
nothing
yes.
besides drawings that people have drawn.
I mean, I've seen it sitting like in the shipyard. It's really just like the front of the ship, though. I mean, you can't really see a whole lot of it.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird. They're being very secretive about it.
When will we travel to Germany to see it float out?
Oh yeah, Jerry wants to go to Germany to see it float out.
Now.
That would be pretty cool, though. I mean, I've always wanted to do that, especially with like Meyer Papenburg. That'd be so cool because of the way they do it.
That would be so cool.
That's one thing I want to do eventually. Maybe with I don't know if they're gonna build the new ones in Turku or Papenburg, but maybe the XL ships. That would be pretty cool.
I don't know. I imagine like in that back area, they'll just do like maybe like a kid pool, or that make that the adult only extra
That would
area.
be a
Sorry,
perfect adults only area. I feel like.
because I know they have that like in the bow of the other ships. Because the top deck of that World Dream looks like a damn amusement park.
It does. I mean, it's Disney and it's a giant.
Literally
Disney
looks like
ship.
Universal got plopped. Boop.
Yeah, pretty awesome looking though. I will say.
It does. It really does.
They really kind of did a good job with it. It's just more or less to see kind of like how it actually comes out in person. You know, renderings and everything looks really cool.
Don't mess it up, SpongeBob.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, you know, a lot of really cool stuff coming from Disney Cruise Line over the next couple weeks or next couple years, and you know, and let's see, should we elevate Goatman's cat to goat status? She's got to pay the rent, man. I put her to work.
She is named after Disney. What do you call it?
Yeah, she's Princess Belle from Disney, from Beauty and the Beast. She looks so mad.
Typical.
She's like, put me down.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I've been on both of their classes. I haven't been on Wish, but like I
I
said,
went on the two originals, but that was when they were brand new. So it's been so long since I've been on a Disney cruise.
A long time for me too. And just like I've seen videos, they're relevant. They're keeping up with the times. They're not as special as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like kids.
I don't either. I don't either.
They annoy me. I'll stay away.
Yeah. Honestly, my parents sailed on Wish last year, and they said actually the kids were like a non-issue. They expected one extreme, and they actually got another.
Really?
They said there were like very few kids on the ship, which is kind of cool.
Yes, Jerry. The dining rooms are really cool, and I like the concept where you have the same waiter every night, but you do a different restaurant every night. I really like that.
Yes. Yes, that my parents said that was really, really cool.
I do like that a lot.
They
Yeah.
they had like the same people that were like near them and everything, which is kind of neat.
Very cool.
Which
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
special
I'm
for sure.
knowing my parents, I'm surprised that they were actually like willing to sit with like another people, like other people that they didn't know. I felt we all felt so bad, but it was so a funny story. When we sailed on the Carnival Sunshine, this is back I guess 10 years ago now, which is crazy. Um, but when we sailed on Carnival Sunshine, it was my family and my grandparents. So there were six of us. We had an 8-person table, and they sat two random strangers near us, and we were like, we have like, this is kind of a family vacation. We don't really know these people, so we don't really want them
Yeah.
at our table, which is completely understandable. But
Oh,
like,
100%.
but so they moved them, which is great and everything like that. But the next night, they moved them like 2 tables over, and the family that they ended up being at the table with now were so rude to them.
Oh no.
So like we felt bad. So like we got the maitre d' and we're like, hey, like we realize what we said, but they're being so mean to them. Like we don't care if they come back. Like it's fine. So they were actually very nice people. It was just like we felt so bad.
Yeah, I
Because
feel
like
you.
they were like actually being very rude. It was more of like we sat and talked to them and things like that. Um, but like but we were like, hey, can you like put them somewhere else? Like a 2-person
Yeah.
table isn't something that's unheard of. It was
The
it
other
was
thing is,
I guess funny
those-
story though.
with those older Disney ships, they don't have casinos. Like that's just
None of them do, which is surprising because I don't think I know in China they're very big on gambling, which could be a reason why they stuck with Japan and not Shanghai. But I think it's kind of similar over in Japan as well. I think they kind of like their casinos too. But I know they also do that with their Disney.
Chinese love to gamble.
Oh, a lot, yes. Even I mean, it's yeah. Even the Adventure doesn't have like they took out all of the casino because it had that was like supposed to be one of the biggest casinos at sea, and they took it out. Like it's its own like whole new area, which is, I mean, a casino is its whole area too, but like it's a whole like completely repurposed area where the casino would have been on the Adventure, which is kind of neat. Which they're doing a neighborhoods concept, kind of like
Yeah,
the
true.
Oasis class, which is kind of cool. Well, yeah. Anyways, I think we're at a good stopping point. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's podcast. It was very fun, very fun conversation to have, and a lot of really cool stuff coming for Disney Cruise Line over the next couple of years. And as always, thank you for joining, Dimitri, and thank you for everybody listening, watching. Thank you for the super chats again, Brady. And we will see you guys next week. Have
See
a
you,
good night, everyone.
Coops. Have fun at Utopia.